Yes. Yes, it does. Hello and welcome. ReZero Season 3 has just completed. Only 8 of its episodes. Yeah, it's on break until February, so you'll only have to cryogenically freeze yourself for a few months instead of 4 years this time, if you're from Elior Forest, that is. But how has it been? Does it live up to the enormous expectations it had? Of course, it's ReZero. It'll show up every few years, slap you in the face a little, and then leave, and you'll be thankful each time. Now, my expectations were already sky high with how much I loved Season 2. But man, Season 3 has been exactly what I was hoping it would be, which is why you should join me as I continue my journey to discover the perfect anime. Now, when talking about ReZero Season 3, the first thing that needs to be brought up is the hour-and-a-half first episode. And no, it's not hour and a half with commercial breaks, it is full-on 90 minutes of an episode. Easily the longest episode in this series. It's basically a movie. Yeah, it's longer than either the OVAs or the first episode. And I'm so glad they went with this approach since it would have been about 4 episodes long normally, and the majority of it is either world building, setup, or even slice of life moments. Because if there's any anime that deserves to have its downtime, it's this one. Especially with what happens after. But I don't mind slice of life or setup episodes, I just think for the sake of the rest of the season, having what would have been a few episodes of build-up leading up to the incredible ending of this episode would have been awkwardly paced. One of ReZero's greatest strengths is that sense of dread. Each arc so far has had clear dangers that have reset Subaru back to his save points. Heck, in Season 2 there's only 2 save points and one of them was only used once. Here though, we're starting off with a year time skip, and I presume Subaru hasn't died in that time, so we're led into this false sense of security. Pristella is a gorgeous city which seems like it'd be an awesome vacation place, but I couldn't help but feel that something was up while the episode was progressing. I mean, after all, we do run into Regulus early, and Garfield gets separated after seeing his mother, whom I thought was long since dead. Plus, with all the royal candidates gathered in one place, it just seems like disaster will be looming in some sort of way. It's too convenient otherwise. So when the entire final sequence with Sirius occurs, I don't think I moved for like 20 minutes after watching that. I stayed completely still when the end credits played. It lets you know exactly which anime you're watching. ReZero's back, baby. It never went away. And even if this is ReZero, we've only seen a few deaths for Subaru so far.
Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of it?
Natsuki Subaru. 1, 2, 3.
But hey, all 3 deaths were just as grotesque and disturbing as you'd expect from this series. Well done, White Fox. I felt sick watching all 3. Despite him dying thrice so far, there's been multiple times I expected him to just bite it right then and there. Him meeting Regulus, meeting Roy Alphard, getting utterly wrecked by Capella. It just goes to show that it's actually pretty hard to kill Subaru, which just makes all of his previous deaths hit that much harder. But I'm glad he hasn't died much because he went through all that character development in Season 2 to get to this point. Yes, a previous Subaru would have just jumped off and ended this loop at the first slight inconvenience. But he isn't the Subaru who would have accepted Mrs. Green's offer. He hates dying, and he should. I don't want Subaru to suffer, even though I know he will due to the nature of the series. I want him to rely on the help of others to save Pristella, Emilia, and everyone within the city. And that's the Subaru who we see now. At the end of episode 8, he's already lost his leg, gotten a dragon blood leg instead, and now after absorbing Crucia's dragon blood, it's filled half of his body. And the other half of his body is filled with the desires of ReZero fans. Hey, I understand it too. Guys, November's hit me really hard. What can I say? Emilia wasn't the only one who got a buff in Season 3. But the point being that this is a Subaru we've seen grow since the beginning. He's faced with unimaginable, impossible odds where death isn't just inevitable but found everywhere he turns. And yet, despite how he's feeling given the current situation, he's still pushing forward. My favorite moment this season so far is easily the speech. Subaru didn't even want to give it in the first place, and yet he delivered one of the most inspiring speeches I've ever seen. and it makes perfect sense why he'd be the one to deliver it. He is more powerful now than he was before. He has Beatrice, he has Betelgeuse's authority, he has his whip, which is not the most effective. But he tries, you know? And I really like how he doesn't even mention that he's the one who's defeated Sloth until deep into his speech. But compared to everyone else, he's so normal. He would lose in a fight to all of his allies and friends, including Otto, and especially Petra. You'd think a guy like this would fumble at inspiring an entire city filled with despair, but it's even more important that a pretty regular guy like Subaru is the one tasked with becoming Winston Churchill, I guess, and bringing hope to the masses. It's so wonderful to see our guy go from how he was at the beginning to how he is now. And while I do think the biggest strength of this series is Subaru's character development, he's not the only one who grows as a character. Season 2 had some incredible development for not just Subaru, but pretty much everyone else, especially Emilia. Sure, she gets kidnapped by Regulus, but she's no damsel in distress here. She's actively doing everything she can to fight back against him and to inspire the other wives. And she still doesn't fully understand love, but I don't blame her. She only got her memories back a year ago. She spent most of her life in seclusion from a prejudiced world against her with Puck as her only companion. But she does trust Subaru, her knight, and he trusts her. One of my favorite things about ReZero Season 2 was seeing everyone having a role to fill and executing. Here we've got even larger of a cast to work with, and now everybody has their own matchups. Priscilla and Liliana versus Wrath, Wilhelm and Garfield versus Lust, Wilhelm's wife and Machamp, Julius and Ricardo versus Gluttony, Anastasia and Otto versus incoming paperwork and administrative duties, Felix versus depression, Krush versus having almost as much misfortune as Subaru, and Reinhardt and Subaru to face off with Regulus and save Emilia. This is everything leading up to what's to come in February, and I can't wait. I know some people might be disappointed that much of what we've seen in Season 3 so far is just setup episodes for what's to come, but I don't dislike setup episodes. It's important to know what the stakes are and to see what we're getting into. We've seen the destruction done to Pristella and how many have already died, and some have met with an even worse fate. And even though ReZero has never been entirely focused on the action, the fights we've seen so far are fantastic. The animation quality is exceptional. This is a series that is once again being given the love and dedication that it deserves. So thank you, White Fox. These next few months without ReZero are gonna suck, but I'll just have to learn to actually leave my house for once or something. However, when ReZero comes back, it will no doubt bring us one step closer to finding the perfect anime. Hey, thanks for watching. As for when I'll rank the Season 3 episodes, it'll be sometime after the season ends, and there are reliable sources pointing that we might get more than just 8 episodes in February, so we'll have to see. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to sub Dragon Blood for more Capella stepping on you. I'm getting pretty close to reaching 5,000 subs, which is my goal for the end of the year, so if you do subscribe, that'd really make my day. And not subscribing is a strict violation of my rights. The next video on this channel will be for my 2nd year anniversary, and yes, it will be on the dangers of my heart. So be sure to look forward to that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.